Brentford versus United. Can Amorim build on Chelsea win, or will bees sting again at Fortress GTech? Welcome to United News, your most trusted source for Manchester United match previews and tactical analysis. When crucial away games arrive that could define our season's direction, you need comprehensive coverage that goes beyond the basics. We've been bringing you detailed match analysis, team news breakdowns, and tactical insights for years, helping you understand every aspect of what makes these games so important for our club's future. The big question: after finally getting that big win against Chelsea, can United show they've learned how to handle the pressure of being favorites? Saturday's trip to West London represents a completely different challenge from last weekend's dramatic victory over Chelsea. While that win provided much-needed relief and breathing space for Ruben Amorim, the real test now is whether Manchester United can build momentum against opponents who will set up very differently from the Blues. Brentford at the GTech Community Stadium have become something of a bogey team for United in recent years. Their record shows 2 wins from the last 3 home games against the Red Devils, and they've lost just once in their last 6 encounters at their home ground. These aren't just statistics. They represent a pattern of United struggling against well-organized, physical teams who know how to make life uncomfortable. The context makes this game even more intriguing. Brentford are dealing with major changes after losing key figures like Thomas Frank and Bryan Mbeumo, with new manager Keith Andrews still finding his feet. Meanwhile, United are trying to prove that their Chelsea victory wasn't just another false dawn in what has been a deeply inconsistent season. Understanding Brentford's new reality. The Brentford that United will face on Saturday is very different from the team that has caused them problems in recent seasons. Major departures change everything. The loss of Thomas Frank as manager represents a seismic change for Brentford. Frank had built a specific culture and tactical approach that made them incredibly difficult to play against. His departure to Tottenham leaves a significant void in terms of leadership and tactical identity. Even more significant from United's perspective is the departure of Bryan Mbeumo, who ironically moved to Old Trafford as part of United's summer spending spree. Mbeumo was one of Brentford's most dangerous attacking threats and someone who consistently caused United problems in previous encounters. These departures have left Brentford in a state of transition, trying to rebuild their identity under new leadership while maintaining the competitive spirit that made them such tough opponents. Keith Andrews' teething problems. New manager Keith Andrews is still trying to implement his ideas and get his players to understand his tactical requirements. The statistics tell a worrying story for Brentford. Just 4 points from their first 6 Premier League games represents a poor start by any measure. The defensive fragility has been particularly concerning. Conceding 10 goals in 5 league fixtures suggests that the solid defensive structure that was a hallmark of the Frank era has not yet been replicated under Andrews. Perhaps most telling is their inability to hold on to leads. Scoring first in 4 league games but winning only one of those matches indicates a team that lacks confidence and defensive discipline when protecting advantages. Home fortress under threat. Traditionally, Brentford have been much stronger at home than away, using the intimate atmosphere of the GTech Community Stadium to intimidate visiting teams. However, their recent defensive problems suggest this home advantage might not be as significant as it once was. The loss of key players and tactical uncertainty could make them more vulnerable than in previous seasons when they seemed to relish these kinds of fixtures against bigger clubs. Financial pressures. The sale of key players like Mbeumo suggests that Brentford are under financial pressure to balance their books. This often leads to a weakening of squad quality and can affect team morale as players wonder who might be sold next. Teams in transition due to financial constraints often struggle with consistency, which could work in United's favor if they approach the game with the right mentality. United's momentum question. The Chelsea victory provided exactly what United needed: 3 points and a confidence boost. But the real challenge now is building on that success rather than treating it as an isolated good performance. The breathing space factor. Amorim's position looked precarious before the Chelsea game, with speculation about his future intensifying after poor results. The victory has bought him breathing space, but that relief could be dangerous if it leads to complacency. The pressure is now different. Instead of fighting for his job, Amorim needs to prove he can build sustained success. This shift in pressure dynamics could actually be more challenging than the previous crisis atmosphere. Pattern of false dawns. United have a recent history of following good performances with disappointing displays. The club has struggled with consistency since Sir Alex Ferguson's retirement, often raising hopes with impressive victories before immediately disappointing fans. Breaking this pattern requires mental strength and professional discipline that hasn't always been evident in recent seasons. The Brentford game will test whether this group of players has learned how to maintain standards. Second half resilience. The way United responded to Casemiro's controversial red card against Chelsea showed character that has been missing in previous games. Playing with 10 men for much of the second half, they managed to protect their lead and secure victory. This resilience will need to be repeated at Brentford, where the physical and emotional demands will be different but equally challenging. Building blocks for success. If United can follow up the Chelsea victory with another positive result, it would represent genuine progress rather than just a one-off performance. These building blocks of success are crucial for creating the momentum needed to climb the table. The psychological impact of consecutive victories often creates a positive spiral where confidence breeds more good performances. Tactical battle. Andrews versus Amorim. The tactical matchup between Keith Andrews and Ruben Amorim adds an intriguing dimension to this fixture. Andrews' preferred system. According to reports, Andrews prefers a 3-5-2 formation that emphasizes defensive solidity while providing attacking width through wingbacks. This system can be effective against teams that like to dominate possession. However, the question is whether Brentford's current players are suited to this tactical approach. Systems work best when players understand their roles completely and can execute them consistently. Potential formation switch. The possibility that Andrews might switch to a back four, specifically to counter United's attack, shows tactical flexibility but also suggests uncertainty about his preferred approach. Teams that change their fundamental setup based on opposition often struggle with execution because players haven't had enough time to master different systems. Amorim's response. Amorim will need to analyze how Brentford are likely to set up and adjust his team selection and tactics accordingly. His ability to read games and make appropriate changes has been questioned this season. The Portuguese manager's tactical knowledge is highly regarded, but Premier League football often comes down to execution rather than just tactical theory. Key battles in midfield. With Casemiro suspended, United's midfield balance will be different from the Chelsea game. This could affect how they control possession and transition between defense and attack. Brentford will likely try to disrupt United's rhythm in midfield, using physicality and pressing to prevent them from settling into their preferred passing patterns. Team news analysis. United's selection dilemmas. Several selection decisions could significantly impact United's performance at Brentford. The Casemiro absence. Losing Casemiro to suspension creates both problems and opportunities for United. While his experience and defensive presence will be missed, his recent performances have been below standard anyway. Manuel Ugarte appears to be the most likely replacement, and his energy and mobility could actually be better suited to the physical battle expected at Brentford. The question is whether United's midfield can maintain its defensive discipline without Casemiro's experience, particularly in crucial moments where game management becomes important. Goalkeeper dilemma continues. The ongoing uncertainty about who should be United's first-choice goalkeeper reflects deeper problems with consistency and confidence in this position. Altay Bayındır has been unconvincing when called upon, leading to speculation that Sen Lammens might finally get his opportunity to impress. However, giving a relatively inexperienced goalkeeper his debut in an away game carries obvious risks. The decision Amorim makes here could define not just this game but the future of United's goalkeeper position for months to come. Defensive reshuffling. With Lisandro Martinez still injured and questions over Diogo Dalot's fitness, United's defensive options remain limited. This lack of depth could be exposed if the game becomes as physical as Brentford matches often do. Luke Shaw's continued use at centre-back shows how stretched United's options are in this area. His pace and reading of the game have been questioned in this position. Attack taking shape. The positive news is that United's attack appears to be finding some cohesion, with the Sesko Cunha partnership reportedly developing well in training. Adding Mbumo's creativity against his former club creates an interesting dynamic. However, away games often require different qualities from attackers, more direct running, better hold-up play, and clinical finishing when chances are limited. Historical context. Why Brentford cause United problems. Understanding why Brentford have been successful against United in recent meetings helps explain what challenges await on Saturday. Home advantage maximized. The GTEC Community Stadium creates an intimidating atmosphere that can affect visiting players who aren't mentally prepared. The close proximity of fans to the pitch means every mistake is amplified. United players have sometimes looked uncomfortable in this environment, making basic errors that they wouldn't normally make at Old Trafford or other larger stadiums. Physical battle 1. Brentford's success against United has often come from winning the physical battles across the pitch. Their players have consistently outworked and outfought United's more technically gifted players. This physicality isn't just about individual battles. It's about collective intensity and work rate that has made United's players look comfortable and hesitant. Set-piece threats. Brentford have been particularly dangerous from set pieces against United, using their height and aerial ability to create scoring opportunities. United's defensive record from corners and free kicks has been poor. The loss of players like Mbeumo might reduce this threat somewhat, but Brentford will still look to exploit any weaknesses in United's defensive organization. Counterattack success. When United have dominated possession in these fixtures, Brentford have hurt them on the counterattack. Their direct style and pace in transition has caught United's defense out of position. This tactical approach could be even more effective if United are missing key defensive players through injury or suspension. Key individual battles. Several individual matchups could determine the outcome of this crucial fixture. Sesko versus Brentford's defense. Benjamin Sesko's physical presence and aerial ability should give him advantages against Brentford's centre-backs. However, he'll need to be prepared for a physical battle and constant pressure. His hold-up play will be crucial in allowing United to build attacks and maintain possession in the final third. If he can win these battles, it will create space for players like Cunha and Mbeumo to operate. Henderson's leadership role. Jordan Henderson's experience and leadership will be crucial for Brentford's chances of getting a positive result. His ability to organize the midfield and maintain discipline will be tested. United will need to prevent Henderson from dictating the tempo and controlling the central areas of the pitch where games are often won and lost. Yarmolenko's creativity. Yarmolenko represents Brentford's main creative threat in the absence of departed players. His ability to find space between United's lines could create problems for the visitors. United's midfield will need to track his movement and prevent him from receiving the ball in dangerous areas where he can affect the game. Shaw's defensive test. Luke Shaw's positioning and decision-making at centre-back will face a stern examination against Brentford's direct attacking style. His pace will be important in dealing with counterattacks. Any defensive errors could be costly, particularly if they lead to set-piece opportunities where Brentford have traditionally been strong. Predicted lineups analysis. Looking at the likely team selections reveals interesting tactical considerations for both managers. Brentford's formation flexibility. The predicted 3-5-2 formation would give Brentford defensive stability while allowing their wingbacks to provide width in attack. However, this system requires excellent fitness levels and tactical discipline. The inclusion of players like Henderson and Yarmolenko in central roles suggests Andrews wants experience and creativity in his midfield to control the game's rhythm. United's attacking intent. The predicted United lineup shows attacking ambition with pace and creativity throughout the front line. However, this approach could leave them vulnerable to counterattacks if they're not careful. The midfield balance will be crucial, with Ugarte needing to provide defensive stability, while Fernandes and the attackers look to create chances. Prediction and analysis. Based on current form, team news, and historical context, this fixture presents both opportunities and challenges for United. Reasons for United optimism. The confidence gained from beating Chelsea should carry over to this game, particularly if United can make a strong start and avoid the slow beginnings that have characterized many of their performances. Brentford's defensive problems and transition period under new management suggest they might be more vulnerable than in previous seasons when they frustrated United. United's superior individual quality should eventually tell if they maintain their intensity and concentration throughout the match. Potential pitfalls. Brentford's record against United at home cannot be ignored, and their fighting spirit could make this a difficult afternoon even if they're not playing at their best. The physical nature of the game could suit Brentford more than United, particularly if the visitors are not prepared for the intensity required. United's away form and tendency to struggle in hostile environments remains a concern that could be exposed if they don't start well. Realistic assessment. A 3-1 victory for United would represent a good performance that builds on the Chelsea success while acknowledging that Brentford will make life difficult. This scoreline would suggest United controlled the game without being completely dominant, which might be the most realistic expectation given both teams' current situations. Broader implications. The result of this match could have significant implications beyond just the 3 points at stake. Amorim's position. While the Chelsea victory bought Amorim breathing space, another poor performance would immediately put him back under pressure. Consistency is what he needs to prove he's the right manager for United. A good performance at Brentford would suggest that the Chelsea result wasn't just a one-off and that genuine progress is being made under his leadership. Season trajectory. United's season could be defined by how they handle these kinds of fixtures. Away games against well-organized opponents where they're expected to win. Building momentum now could set up a strong finish to the first half of the season, while dropping points would maintain the inconsistency that has plagued their campaign. Player development. Games like this are where players prove they can handle the pressure and expectations that come with playing for Manchester United. Young players like Lamens, if selected, and established stars like Sesko need to show they can perform consistently rather than just in isolated good performances. The mental challenge. Perhaps the biggest test for United will be mental rather than tactical or physical. Handling expectations. Being favorites against a struggling Brentford team brings its own pressure. United have often struggled when expected to win, lacking the killer instinct to put games to bed. The ability to handle these expectations and play with confidence rather than anxiety will be crucial for getting a positive result. Away day mentality. United's away performances have been inconsistent this season, suggesting mental fragility when playing outside the comfort zone of Old Trafford. Developing the mental strength to perform consistently regardless of venue is essential for any team with serious ambitions. Learning from past mistakes. The pattern of following good performances with disappointing results must be broken if United are to make real progress this season. This requires professional maturity and mental discipline that hasn't always been evident in recent campaigns. What success looks like. Beyond just the result, there are several indicators that would suggest United are making genuine progress. Controlled performance. A controlled performance where United dictate the tempo and never look in serious danger of losing would be encouraging progress from recent inconsistent displays. This kind of professional away performance has been missing from United's repertoire and would suggest improved mental strength. Individual contributions. Key players stepping up with important contributions when the team needs them most would demonstrate the character required for sustained success. Players like Fernandes, Sesko, and whoever plays in goal need to show they can handle pressure moments. Tactical flexibility. The ability to adapt during the game if initial plans aren't working would show that Amorim's methods are being understood and implemented by his players. This tactical intelligence often separates good teams from great ones in difficult away fixtures. Looking beyond Saturday. While focusing on the immediate challenge is important, this game also provides insights into United's longer-term prospects. Building blocks. Consecutive victories would represent the kind of building blocks needed to construct a successful season. These foundations are often more important than individual brilliant performances. Squad development. How players respond to different challenges and environments tells us about their potential for future growth and development. Tactical evolution. The continued development of Amorim's tactical ideas and their implementation by the players will be crucial for long-term success. Final preparations. As Saturday approaches, both teams will be making final preparations that could influence the game's outcome. United's focus areas. Set-piece defending will need particular attention given Brentford's traditional strength in these situations and United's recent vulnerabilities. Mental preparation for a hostile atmosphere and physical battle will be just as important as tactical preparation. Injury updates. Late fitness tests for players like Dalot could affect team selection and tactical approach, requiring last-minute adjustments. The goalkeeper decision will likely be made based on training performances and Amorim's assessment of who can handle the pressure. Conclusion: a test of character and progress. Saturday's trip to Brentford represents exactly the kind of fixture that defines seasons and reveals the true character of teams and managers. For Manchester United, coming off a crucial victory over Chelsea, this game tests whether they've learned how to build momentum and handle the different pressures that come with being favorites. Brentford, despite their struggles under Keith Andrews and the departure of key figures like Thomas Frank and Brian Bumo, remain a dangerous opponent on their home ground. Their record against United at the GTEC Community Stadium demands respect and careful preparation. The tactical battle between Andrews and Amorim adds intrigue, with both managers under pressure to deliver results for different reasons. Andrews needs to prove he can stabilize Brentford and develop a winning identity, while Amorim must show that the Chelsea victory was the beginning of sustained improvement rather than another false dawn. United's team selection decisions, particularly the ongoing goalkeeper dilemma and Casemiro's suspension, could significantly impact their performance. The mental and physical challenges of playing away against a team that has previously caused them problems will test every aspect of their preparation. Most importantly, this game will reveal whether United have developed the professional consistency needed to challenge for their objectives this season. The pattern of following good performances with disappointing results must be broken if they're to make genuine progress. The broader implications extend beyond just 3 points. For Amorim, another positive result would provide genuine breathing space and validation of his methods. For the players, it would demonstrate the mental strength required to succeed at the highest level. Based on current form and the respective challenges facing both teams, United should have enough quality to secure victory. However, football isn't played on paper, and Brentford's home record against United suggests this will be far from straightforward. A 3-1 victory would represent the kind of controlled away performance that United need to develop if they're serious about climbing the table. It would show character, quality, and the kind of consistency that has been missing for too long. At Unite United News, we'll be following every moment of this crucial fixture, providing the analysis and insights you need to understand what it means for our club's future. When games like this could define seasons, you need coverage that explains why every decision matters. Keep checking back with Unite United News for match reaction, player ratings, and analysis of what Saturday's result means for United's progress under Ruben Amorim. This could be the day when their season really begins to take shape.